Welcome back, folks. Today, we're diving into an incredible piece of history. A newspaper article that's over 100 years old. This article tells a fascinating tale about the Seeahtik tribe, a group of legendary beings described by Native American tribes of the Pacific Northwest. These beings are said to be giant, hairy Indians, a description that might sound familiar because today we call them Bigfoot. Now here's the thing. Native American tribes have lived on this land for thousands of years. They carry a deep knowledge, stories, a history about the land and creatures that live here. Knowledge far older than what many of us are familiar with today. It's incredibly important that we respect and preserve these stories because they hold insights that have been passed down for generations. This article explores how the Seatic were known to the native tribes. Giant beings with hypnotic powers, the ability to mimic sounds, and a supernatural presence. While many settlers dismissed these stories at the time, today they offer a unique perspective on what we now refer to as Bigfoot. Let's journey back to the early 1900s and uncover this incredible article. It's from the Oregonian, Portland, Oregon, Wednesday, July 16th, 1924. The big apes, reported to have bombarded a shack of prospectors at Mount St. Helens, are recognized by the Northwestern Indians as none other than the Seatic tribe of Indians. Seatic is a Klallam pronunciation. All other tribes of the Northwest pronounce it Seatikcha. Northwestern Indians have long kept the history of the Seatic tribe a secret because the tribe is the skeleton in the Northwestern Indians' closet. Another reason the Indians have never divulged the existence of this tribe is that the Northwestern Indians know that the white man would not believe the stories regarding the Seatic tribe. These facts are corroborated by Henry Napoleon, Klallam tribe, P.J. James, Lumi tribe, George Hyosman, Quinault tribe. Game killed by hypnotism. Every Indian, especially of the Puget Sound tribes, is familiar with the history of these strange, giant Indians, as they are sometimes referred to by the local Indians. Shaker Indians of northwestern Oregon, who attended the Shakers Convention on the Skokomish Reservation on Hood Canal last year, related to the writer their experience with the Seatic Indians. Oregon and Washington Indians agree that the Seatic Indians are not less than 7 feet tall, and some have been seen that were fully 8 feet in height. They have hairy bodies like the bear. This is to protect them from the cold, as they live entirely in the mountains. They kill their game entirely by hypnotism. They have great supernatural powers. They also have the gift of ventriloquism and have deceived many ordinary Indians by throwing their voices. Several languages used. These Indians talk, beside the bear language of the Klallam tribe, the bird language. The writer was told by Oregon Indians during his research work among them last year that the Seatic tribe can imitate any bird of the Northwest, especially the blue jay, and that they have a very keen sense of smell. Oregon Indians at times have been greatly humiliated by the Seatic's vulgar sense of humor. The Seatics play practical jokes upon them and steal they're Indian women. Sometimes an Indian woman comes back. More often, she does not. And it is even said by some Northwestern Indians that they have a strain of the Seahtik blood in them. Oregon and Washington Indians differ in regard to the Seahtik's home. The Oregon Indians assert they made their home in or near Mount Rainier, while the Puget Sound Indians say they live in the heart of the wilderness at Vancouver Island, British Columbia. Big Bear speaks. Henry Napoleon of the Klallam tribe came upon one of the members of the Seahtik tribe while out hunting on Vancouver Island. He related this story to the writer. I had been visiting relatives near Duncan, BC. While out there, I had been told many stories of the Seahtiks by the Cowichan tribe of British Columbia and warned by them not to go too far into the wilderness. However, in following a buck I had wounded, I went in farther than I expected. It was at twilight when I came across an animal that I believed to be a big bear. But as I aimed at him with my gun, he looked and spoke to me in my own tongue. He was about 7 feet tall, and his body was very hairy. As he invited me to sit down, he told me that I had come upon him unawares, and that his mind had been projected to distant relatives of his. Otherwise, he would never have been seen. Strange medicine used. After we talked for some time, he invited me to the Seahtik's home. Though it was now dark, yet the giant Indian followed the trail very easily. Then we began an underground trail, and after hours of travel, we came to a large cave, which he said was the home of his people, and that they lived during the winter in the different caves on Vancouver Island. He also told me that the reason they were not seen very much was because they had a strange medicine that they rubbed over their bodies so that it made them invisible, and that combined with their wakatinising, or hypnotic powers, made them very strong Tamanawias men. They also told me that they could talk almost any Indian language of the Northwest. The next day they led me out, and just at twilight I came out of the underground trail, and they accompanied me to within a mile of the Indian village I was staying at. Tribe held harmless. The Seahtik tribe is harmless if left alone. However, if one of their members is injured or killed, they generally take 12 lives for the one. This the Indians of the Northwest have learned, and even though the Seahtik tribe steal all their dried meat or salmon, or even steal their women, the Puget Sound Indians will not try to retaliate. For once, the Klallam tribe, in righteous indignation, captured a young man of the Seahtik tribe at Sebec, Washington, and took him across the Hood Canal to Brennan, where other Klallam Indians were camped. Cowachitan, the writer's own grandfather, kept telling the Klallams to be careful of the Seahtik's supernatural powers, but he was only laughed at. It was later told by Cowachitan that while they were still 20 yards from the shore, the young Seahtik made a mighty leap and immediately made for the mountains. Klallams are killed. Cowachitan warned his people that they should move, but again he was laughed at. That very night, the Seatic tribe came down and killed every Kalalam there but Kawachitan, who had moved his family across the canal. The Oregon and Washington Indians of the present believed that the Seatic tribe was just about extinct, as it was 15 years ago since their tracks were last seen and recognized at Brennan, Washington, where the giant Indians came every fall to fish for salmon in the Brennan River. However, Fred Pope of the Quinault tribe and George Hyosman were fishing for steelheads about 15 miles up the Quinault River one day in September 4 years ago, when they were visited by Seatic Indians. Mr. Hyosman said he heard and recognized their peculiar whistling before they approached us, and in the morning we found that they had stolen all the steelheads we had caught. Therefore, the Indians of the Northwest, after reading an account of the big apes attacking a prospector's shack, immediately recognized the Indians referred to in the Oregonian as the Seahtiks, or giant Indians. Some Indians of the Northwest say that during the process of evolution, when the Indian was changing from animal to man, that the Seahtik did not absorb the Tamanawias, or soul power, and thus he became an anomaly in the Indian's process of evolution. Their sense of humor is vulgar and obscene, as many ordinary Indians have told the writer. Therefore, the Northwestern Indian is ashamed of this tribe, which is generally referred to as the skeleton in the Northwestern Indian's closet. What a fascinating article. Now that we've learned about the Seahtik tribe, let's reflect on some of the details and how they tie into what we hear in modern accounts of Bigfoot sightings today. It's important to recognize that the Native Americans referred to these beings as people. They weren't simply animals or mythical creatures, but a distinct people with intelligence, culture, and supernatural abilities. This is significant because their accounts often portray the Seahtiks as far more advanced than we might think. One striking detail from this story is how the Seahtik are known for imitating birds. Many modern Bigfoot encounters describe them mimicking owls, a sound familiar in the woods, but just different enough to raise suspicion. The article mentions the Seahtik's vulgar sense of humor, how they would play tricks and humiliate the local Indian tribes. This concept matches countless present-day accounts of strange nighttime disturbances. Another fascinating element is the disagreement among tribes about where the Seahtik come from. Some believe they are from Mount Rainier, and others Vancouver Island. Could this be because of their supernatural powers? Modern-day witnesses frequently report seeing these beings disappear into thin air. Many believe they possess the ability to vanish, perhaps by walking into an unseen dimension. This might explain why no clear remains have ever been found. Take, for instance, the story of the Indian man who traveled with the Seahtik into an underground trail. Could this have been a portal into another dimension? Many modern Bigfoot researchers propose similar theories, that these beings can shapeshift between realms, which would explain their ability to evade detection. Then there's the mention of special medicine that allows the Seahtiks to turn invisible. This is remarkably similar to modern encounters where these beings step behind a tree or a rock and simply vanish. Many witnesses are left stunned, unable to comprehend how a massive creature can disappear in an instant. The article also mentions Seeahtik projecting its mind to a distant relative, a concept eerily similar to what modern researchers call mind speak. This telepathic form of communication is often reported by people who claim encounters with Bigfoot. Could this connection between minds be the same as the visions deeply rooted in Native American culture? For centuries, visions have played a significant role in Native American traditions, offering spiritual insights and messages. Perhaps the Seahtik's ability to project thoughts ties directly into this ancient practice. Another theme is their supernatural abilities. There are modern stories of these beings shape-shifting, transforming into glowing orbs and flying away at the speed of light. Others describe them as always being 10 steps ahead, a point reinforced by the Seahtik statement that if his mind hadn't been projected to a distant relative, he would never have been seen. It's a rare occurrence to catch these beings off guard. Most glimpses only happen because they are caught unawares. But once they know you are there, they find a way to disappear. What's truly remarkable is how many of these ancient Native American accounts align so closely with modern-day reports. Even though they are described in slightly different words and concepts, the similarities are undeniable. Disappearing beings, mimicry, mind projection, and supernatural abilities. Whether we call them Seeahtik, Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, the experiences remain strikingly similar across time and cultures. In the end, these stories remind us that there is so much about this world we still don't understand. The native tribes have preserved this knowledge for generations, and it's up to us to listen and learn. Their wisdom offers us a deeper understanding of these beings that are perhaps more powerful and intelligent than we ever imagined. What do you think about the Seahtik and their connection to modern Bigfoot encounters? Keep searching, keep questioning, because the answers are out there. Until next time.